Wrestling, a podcast by wrestling fans for wrestling fans. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Power Pro Wrestling Podcast, the podcast by wrestling fans for wrestling fans. This is Robert Red, and I'm going to be joined today by my friend Joe. How you doing today, Joe?
I'm doing great. Bring it.
Awesome. Well, on this podcast, we're going to be talking about should a champion be stripped of his title if he's out for a few months? Possible yes, possible no. Sting, who should wrestle at WrestleMania. And also, D-Bry, main event, has his time passed, yes or no? But first, I want to let you guys know that we do have a Patreon page that you can support the podcast. It's patreon.com/PPWP. And also we have a Facebook page that's the Power Pro Wrestling. You can search it on Facebook. But first, I'm going to kick it to you, Joe. And what was kind of your favorite moment of Raw this week? And it can be a segment, just whatever was your favorite moment of Raw.
Well, to start things off, my favorite moment of Raw, I mean, obviously it's the moment, not a match. And I have to say the Cena segment. I mean, for once, you know, Cena is not the major highlight of the show. Obviously, it has focus on Roman Reigns, but Cena trying to challenge Rusev for the U.S. title, phrase that, United States Championship. How often do you see that lately? Not. So, to me, that was very, very exciting, especially seeing Russo having an edge over Cena, especially beating him at Fastlane. So, I like that segment.
Yeah, and that was not a bad segment. Kind of my favorite from Raw was the main event match between Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan versus Seth Rollins and Randy Orton. Obviously, Randy Orton came back at Fastlane, and we can talk about that maybe on our YouTube exclusive we have for the podcast, but I just enjoyed that tag match and just kind of what happened after, where you had the blind tag from Seth Rollins tagging himself in from Randy Orton, and Orton getting hot about it, and then you had Daniel Bryan doing the same thing, and then I believe he hit the running knee to win the match, if I'm correct on that. And then what Randy Orton going crazy and starting RKOing people, and then kind of holding his composure, not beating down Seth Rollins, was kind of my favorite moment from Raw this week. So, shifting to SmackDown, kind of what was your favorite moment of SmackDown this week, Joe?
My favorite moment was the whole the Intercontinental title, how everybody, like Daniel Bryan, Daniel Ambrose, and even R-Truth, everybody trying to show interest to that title. To me, they're making that title a pretty well-known, well-deserved title. So far, they're trying to make that a highlight of the show, the IC title. Obviously, the main event was a six-man tag, which I think was a pretty decent match. But, seeing it so many times in the past, especially recently at the Fastlane pay-per-view, I seen it too many times. So that's why my favorite part of the show was the whole IC title, how Dean Ambrose stole it for Wade Barrett, and then R-Truth took it back and gave it back to Dean Ambrose. They're trying to make something out of it, which is awesome. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I do agree that was a funny segment. I did enjoy the whole interaction between R-Truth and Dean Ambrose and the backstage segment that it did on SmackDown. But kind of sticking with the IC title, my favorite moment of SmackDown was the Daniel Bryan and Wade Barrett match. I felt a very good match, and I'm obviously a Daniel Bryan fan. I love Daniel Bryan, and I'm going to talk more about that in our second segment. But just the Daniel Bryan Wade Barrett match, and obviously with what you mentioned with the whole R-Truth, Dean Ambrose segment, just kind of what they were doing, and then like R-Truth sneaking up in Barrett's match and like stealing the IC belt. That was kind of cool, so I enjoyed that as well. Well, we've got a few minutes left here, so kicking it to Impact Wrestling, their counterpart TNA. Kind of what was your favorite moment of TNA this week?
Honestly, my favorite moment of TNA, of course, was the Samoa Joe and Austin Aries match. That was a good, almost clean fought match. And, considering that Samoa Joe has pretty much parted his ways with TNA, that was kind of, to me, I think one of my finest moments seeing him in TNA. Also, the main event with Bobby Lashley defending the defending the world title against MVP. There's just too many people interfering in that match, and we've seen that so many times in the past, and I just think that's getting too old.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree with you on your favorite moment of Impact being the Samoa Joe Austin Aries match. I mean, that's kind of like a rematch from Ring of Honor, or those guys were in Ring of Honor, and it's actually Aries who beat Joe for the Ring of Honor title, and I just felt that was a good match. And to let a little guy like Austin Aries beat a bigger guy like Samoa Joe, is just, I love that. And it just goes to show that TNA doesn't base it on size, but talent and skill and ability. And I mean, the main event wasn't bad. I like Drew Galloway coming out. You had Awesome Kong attacking Taryn Terrell, which I loved that segment as well. But that kind of was like my favorite moments of Impact this week. But that's really all the time left we have in this segment. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to be right back right after this.
Hi guys, this is Robert Red. I'm the host of the Power of Pro Wrestling podcast, the podcast by wrestling fans for wrestling fans. Our podcast is currently looking for sponsors, so if you or your business would like to show your support, you can do so by going on YouTube or by emailing me at jonesprowrestling@gmail.com. So sit back, enjoy the show, and thanks. Hi guys, this is Robert Red, the host of the Power of Pro Wrestling podcast, and I have some great news for you. Our podcast can now be heard on Spreaker. Spreaker is podcasting on the go. You can listen via web, iPhone, Android, and many other devices. Check us out today on Spreaker.com.
And we're back with the Power of Pro Wrestling podcast. I'm still joined by my friend Joe. You still doing good, Joe?
Yes, the champion's still doing good.
Cocky guy, aren't you, on this one?
Heck yeah.
Okay. Well, this is our second segment, and this is our discussion portion of the podcast. And if you've been following our podcast, we do 3 questions. So the first question is, if you remember, earlier in 2014, Daniel Bryan won the WWE World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania, and he was stripped of the title at Payback on June 1st because of his injury and stuff like that he suffered outside the ring. And Brock Lesnar, or John Cena, wins it at Money in the Bank, and then he goes on to defend it at Battleground, if I remember correctly, and then he loses it to Lesnar at SummerSlam, and Lesnar barely defends it. So my question to you, Joe, with the whole Daniel Bryan situation last year, should a champ be stripped of his title if he is out for a few months?
That is a very good question, considering a lot of promotions, they don't have their champion defend their title all the time, just like what WWE is doing here recently. I would agree that you would strip them after maybe 6 months or plus, because that's over a year, over a half a year, but not 2 or 3 months like they did with Daniel Bryan. They should have gave him, at least up to 6 months, then strip him the title, because to me, as a champion, I think you need to defend the title at least once every 3 months, or at least 2 or 3 months, so you can show that I'm still the dog, I'm still the top dog of this company. Because remember, the world champion is representing the company. That title is the company itself. So you going into a show in a match, you have to represent the company. So being out more than 6 months, you're not doing anything for the company. So yes, strip them after 6 months, but less than 6 months, no.
Yeah, and with the whole Daniel Bryan situation, being out injured, it depends on the length of the injury, whether or not you should strip someone of the title or not. To me, if Daniel Bryan was only going to be out like a couple of months, then I would have said, hey, we'll give you a free pass, you can stay champion, stuff like that. The reason why WWE stripped him of the title was it was an indefinite injury and they didn't have a definite timetable. So, I mean, I was okay with him being stripped of the title because he was going to be out a pretty long time, because back in the day in wrestling, if you didn't defend the title at least once a month, you were stripped of the belt. It just doesn't seem so right now, and that really makes me hate WWE, because they stripped Daniel Bryan of the title, and then Brock Lesnar wins it at SummerSlam, and then he barely defends it. He defends it the next month, then doesn't defend it until he defends it in September of 2014, and then doesn't defend it again until January of 2015. And if you really look at that, September, October, November, December, that's like 4 months he has not defended the title. Also, and I mean, that's really hypocritical of WWE to do that, to take the title from Bryan to just put it back on Lesnar, who barely works and defends the title. So I mean, that's something I'm really kind of upset about with WWE. But I mean, like, to make my point and get back on topic, basically it depends on the length of the injury as to how long they're going to be out. If they're going to be out longer than 2 or 3 months, then obviously they need to be stripped of the title. But if it's only going to be a month or two, then let them remain champion and don't strip them of the belt. Which, speaking of titles, this is not a title match, but we have WrestleMania coming up. And Sting has made his intentions clear that he wants a match against Triple H at WrestleMania. But my question to you, Joe, is Triple H the right opponent at WrestleMania? So who should Sting wrestle at WrestleMania? Should it be Triple H, or should he have had another opponent for WrestleMania?
Well, Robert, you get to the point that Triple H is a former WCW guy. He started in WCW back in the early 90s. And yes, Triple H is well-known WWE as Triple H, and, he made more impact in WWE than he had WCW, but he is still a former WCW guy. It's just funny how Triple H always trying to downgrade WCW, considering that's where he started his career. Also, as for, people always want Undertaker to face Sting. Well, I remember correctly, Undertaker used to be in WCW too as
mean Mark Callis?
Yes, and to me, he's a former WCW guy. If you look at Sting, he's a WCW guy all the way. He never competed WWE before until recently. I believe November of last year, 2014, when he made his debut in WWE. So I think he should face somebody who is a 110% WWE guy who had never competed in WCW, which I believe should be John Cena.
Okay, that's actually interesting. And I mean, I understand where you're coming from. You want him to fight someone new that he's never faced before and get like a marquee value. So, I mean, I can see your point. Kind of my thought in the other way is, really to me, my dream match and the match that Sting should have had at WrestleMania first should have been against Undertaker. And it's just for the simple fact of, like you mentioned, Sting was WCW through and through. He was the icon. He was their franchise player. Well, who during the Attitude Era and most of it was WWE's franchise player? Undertaker. So if you really look at that, Undertaker, Sting, and their gimmicks and characters are so very similar. Like you have a potential Undertaker Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. Their characters and gimmicks are so similar to where that's just a dream match. And you could, with the Monday Night Wars you just ended on the network, it makes a lot of business sense to go Taker and Sting at WrestleMania. So, I mean, that's kind of, Sting should have wrestled Taker at Mania, not Triple H.
To be honest with you, Robert, I believe that they should make Sting wrestle more than just WrestleMania. He should consider there's so many people that people want to see him wrestle. Taker, Triple H, John Cena, even Shawn Michaels. Bring back Shawn Michaels one more time, one more match. That'd be a good potential match. Because look at it. Sting is a religious man. Shawn Michaels is a religious man. They both bring Christianity into the ring. They both worship God. They both have a high belief. They're both pretty much similar in wrestling. They're both back in the 80s and 90s. I mean, that's the classical match. That's one person I'd like to see wrestle Sting, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And since we're talking about main event guys and stuff at WrestleMania, we're going to talk about Daniel Bryan. And kind of this question was brought up about my friend Wes Henry I used to work with, and he kind of posted this on a Facebook group that I'm a member of, saying that Daniel Bryan's time had passed to be a main event star. So I kind of wanted to get your thoughts, Joe. Do you really feel Daniel Bryan's time has passed to be a main eventer, or do you feel he still can get back in that main event spot, considering that Roman Reigns is scheduled to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania and be the main event spot? So kind of give me your thoughts on that.
Well, Robert, I will admit I'm not a Daniel Bryan fan here, even though I'm a small guy myself. But consider what happened last year, that he was stripped of the title, and he hadn't really had a chance to showcase his championship run like he deserved. I believe his time is not all the way up. I mean, I believe his time is up as to, being the main eventer for a whole year or so. I mean, I believe he has at least one more run for the world title. But as being the main attraction, the main top star like John Cena, I think his time is up. Yes, he had his run in 2014, not as long like he deserved, like you noted earlier today, with the whole injury situation. But as far as his time is up, yes.
Yeah, well, I'm actually of the opposite opinion of I don't feel Daniel Bryan's time is up as a main eventer. And I mean, if you just look at him right now, just compare the reaction Roman Reigns gets versus Daniel Bryan. It's night and day difference. Daniel Bryan still is getting a very positive reaction everywhere he's going. I mean, I don't think you hear one boo from the crowd or the fans. And he's still very much a good wrestler. He's still a good technical wrestler. And it's very petty from WWE to not let him be in the main event just from the simple fact of his size, that he's not a big guy. He's like 5'10", 180 pounds. But he's one of the best technical wrestlers you have out there. He's a good performer. He is charismatic. I know a lot of people have kind of bashed him for saying he doesn't have good mic skills, which I don't see people saying that. A lot of people bring up the whole Sheamus thing where he got beaten 18 seconds to Sheamus, which I've had arguments about that as well. So I don't really feel Daniel Bryan's time to be a main eventer has passed. The fans are still strongly behind him, and that's a guy you still need to push for a little while. Now, eventually, I will say his time will be up to be a main eventer, just not now. He's still very hot and very popular, and it's bad business that if you don't capitalize on that, it just shows that you're not a good businessman or a businesswoman. So I hope Triple H and Steph and Vince and whoever is in charge of the WWE right now will take that into account, that Daniel Bryan's still a popular guy, and push him back to the main event. So, that's all the time we have left for this segment. But coming up after the commercial break, we're going to be back for, I know, a segment you enjoy and I enjoy, and that's Rapid Fire!
Rapid Fire!
Rapid Fire!
Rapid Fire!
Okay, now we got to go to commercial break. So, guys, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and we'll be back right after this. Hi, guys. This is Robert Red, the host of the Power of Pro Wrestling podcast, and I've got some great news for you. Our podcast is now available on YouTube. You can listen to past and present episodes of my podcast on my channel, along with donating to the show. Check it out today at youtube.com/user/TheRobertRed. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Chris Heineken, known as Cornbread. I'm the voice of Out of Control Wrestling, inviting you to experience OCW in 2 ways. Flatlander, 609 Southeast Gibson Street in Hoxie, Arkansas, with a $6 entry fee. As a bonus, it's a national taping. Or you can watch us every single Sunday night at 11 p.m. Eastern in syndication and YouTube, and also Tuesday nights the replay on YouTube at 11 Eastern. If you're not watching us, you ain't out of control. We'll see you then. This is Cornbread Chris Heineken. You're listening to the Power of Pro Wrestling Podcast.
And welcome back to our third segment of the Power of Pro Wrestling Podcast. I'm still joined by my friend Joe. You ready to get this started?
Bring it.
Yeah, it's rapid fire time.
Rapid fire!
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 Bring it.
Okay. Yeah, so you realize I win this one. So the topic for our rapid fire this week is going to be, it was announced on SmackDown that there was going to be a ladder match for the IC title at WrestleMania. Well, they just said Wade Barrett would wrestle multiple opponents. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to say a name, Joe, and you're going to say yes, possible ladder match contender, or no, not a possible ladder match contender, and you'll quickly tell me why. So we're going to start off with an easy one, and we're going to go Dean Ambrose.
Heck yeah, I believe he deserves it. I mean, he's been competing in a lot of top matches. He, I believe, main evented Hell in a Cell, I believe.
Against Bray Wyatt.
Yeah,
yes,
so,
correct.
I mean, he's getting the popularity from the fans, and it seems like that he's getting the, he's getting the main event status here soon, so get him the title shot. He deserves it.
Yeah, so, I mean, I definitely think that he will be in the ladder match. I mean, just the way he's been dealing with Bad News Barrett, he got screwed at Fastlane, so I do see him being in the ladder match. So, let's go with Titus O'Neil. Do you think he'll be in the ladder match?
No. I mean, he's not well known WWE fans. He's part of the group with Darren Young. He's more of a tag team with Darren Young. He's not really, I don't see him a fit for the IC title. Okay,
and I mean, I can agree, Darren Young, he's not really doing anything right now. He's tagging with Titus, so I mean, if they're doing anything, I would think they would probably either
he's tagging in with Darren Young.
Yeah, Darren Young and Titus are tagging right now, so I mean, I don't see them having being put in a singles match for the IC title, so I do agree. But since we mentioned Titus O'Neil, let's move to Chris Jericho.
I will admit I am a Y2J fan, and yes, the nine time I can say so many times Intercontinental Champion. I believe he's the record holder as many times to hold the title, and I believe that if you put him in that match, it would definitely make that match more of a high value match, considering that he's a former Intercontinental Champion. He's also the top multiple winner of that championship. He also was the one who brought that title to its prestige back in the day. So I believe that he deserves in that title match, and believe that if you put him in there, that match would be more of a at least 4 out of 5 stars.
Yeah. Well, Jericho, I mean, I could see him potentially being in the ladder match just for the simple fact that he has been working house shows for WWE, and he might potentially appear on WrestleMania. So I could see him as a possible yes, but I wouldn't say a definite yes. So we'll move on to, how about R-Truth?
R-Truth. Let's see, what has he done so far in WWE? Really nothing. Nothing against him or his persona or anything. I just don't see him into the IC title match because, he's more of an entertainer. The Intercontinental Championship is always known for its technical wrestlers. It's in-ring wrestlers, not its entertainers. And Dean Ambrose, even Wade Bry, who is the current champion right now, he's a technical wrestler. He's more of the ring performer. Unlike R-Truth, he's more of the rapping, more of the entertaining interaction with the fans. So no, I don't think he deserves in that IC title.
Yeah, well, I think he will be, just from the simple fact of where they've been going with a storyline with what happened on SmackDown and everything like that. So I mean, I do see him potentially being in the IC title match. So let's go to Kofi Kingston, Mr. New Day.
Kofi Kingston, former Intercontinental Champion, former United States Champion. Yes, even though they have him in a tag team with New Day, he is still well deserved to be IC Championship match. Just the fact of because he held that title before. He also is very entertaining in the ring. He has some great highlight matches in the past with Randy Orton and some other big names in the WWE. I mean, I believe that if they put him in the match, it make it more interesting for a little bit more entertaining for the fans. So yes.
Okay. I mean, I could potentially see Kofi Kingston being in the ladder match. I mean, he's not doing anything right now. So, I mean, I could always see him potentially getting in the ladder match. Or he could also be in that Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So, let's move on to Kane.
Yes, the big red monster. Put him in there. I mean, you got these mid-sized guys, they're put a heavyweight in there. The ladder match, Kane, let him pretty much devastate some of the people on that match. That'd be an interesting thing. He hasn't really done much lately except for the authority angle, but put him in there. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, for Kane being in there, I think he will probably be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal just because he is a big guy, to give some big guys in that match. So I don't think he's going to be in the IC title match. And since we're getting short on time, I'm going to do one quick one, and we've been mentioning him. How about Daniel Bryan?
Yes, because Daniel Bryan right now, like you said earlier, he's getting a big pop from his from the WWE Universe. He's, according to you, his time is not up, and since obviously he's not in the world title match, he got to be in something for WrestleMania. Once you put him in the IC title, he's a former U.S. champion. Give him the IC title match.
Yeah, and I mean, I would like to see him realistically. I don't know if WWE is going to stick him in the IC title ladder match or not. He's kind of doubtful, but I would love to see it. And that is the one belt WWE has yet to hold, is the Intercontinental title. So that would kind of fulfill him and stuff like that. But that's all the time we have left for this podcast. I want to thank you, Joe, for joining me.
You're welcome.
Hey, so this has been Robert Red for the Power of Pro Wrestling podcast, and we are signing off. And once again, you can check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/PPWP, and like our Facebook page at facebook.com Power of Pro Wrestling.
And also, don't forget, if you have a chance, go to Joe Young Facebook page and like his page. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay, we'll definitely do. And thank you guys for joining us, and we'll catch you later.